So if you're in the chat, you have a couple of minutes. I think you have 2 minutes from hearing this message to place your bets on who you think is going to be this week's champion. Is it going to be the Terran? Is it going to be the Zerg? Is it going to be one or the other? It's on you to decide. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Babylon, we have the South Korean Terran player representing Team Abydos. It is Cure. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player representing CranKy Gaming. It is Dark. Now, both players are warmed up. Leading into the grand finals, Dark did 2-0 Oliveira in the quarterfinals, and Cure did 2-0 Ragnarok in the semifinals. So they've both been able to take down some big Zerg and Terran players respectively. So we'll see how these two titans will clash here in the finals. Again, great to see Cure after a long hiatus, after disappearing for quite some time. But now he's back, and now he's back with the Beyond opener. Tis going to be that 2-Rax opener that we know and love. And we saw Cure use this to great effect against Ragnarok in the upper semifinals. Cure did follow this up with a 4-Rax, bear that in mind. And if you recall, the big danger here behind this 2-Rax opener is whether you go for a 2-1-1, a 3-Rax, or a 4-Rax. There are a couple of different transitions here available for the Terran player, and each transition requires a different response. But Dark is very familiar with this. Dark has played week after week against Beyond. He knows he knows the ins and the outs of the Beyond opener. And Cure is not Beyond. He is merely an imitation, so I'm sure Dark is going to be feeling pretty confident going up against this. As his Overlord dips in and he confirms the positioning of these Raxes. Again, at this point, I feel like Dark can defend against this in his sleep, but that's also a vague statement because, again, there are kind of different follow-ups, different variations of this opener. We'll see which one Cure goes for. Until then, Dark is going to be going to be saturating his bases as we speak. Working on his queen production. We have 6 lings on the way. And Cure should only be investing into 3 of these Reapers. Oh. First Reaper almost gets a drone kill, but a nice quick spore trick from Dark keeps it alive. And we have our follow-up. There's our 3rd Rax. And we should be seeing a 4th. There it is. There is our 4th Rax. So it's going to be a 4-Rax follow-up here from Cure. So for those wondering, basically you only make 3 Reapers. With these Reapers, you can threaten and maybe even cancel the 3rd base. You can dance with the Queens. You can maybe even kill a Queen as well if Dark does overextend. You have map control. And with that map control, you're able to, again, just force your Zerg opponent to be quite uncomfortable, be inefficient, force out even more lings. Get an eye or stay on top of that drone count. And so far, this hatchery is getting very low. Oh, the Queens do arrive just in time, but the Cure, he does refocus here on the Queens instead. Can he get them? And it looks like he barely cannot. This was so greedy by Dark as well, by the way. He defended with only 2 Queens. He kept his lings in the back line. A little bit paranoid of a counterattack. And yeah, Dark is able to hold onto his 3rd base. Now, Cure is going to be banking up Marines back at home, and he's going to be hitting a timing with Stim, and this can hit very hard. If you recall, against Ragnarok, all that Cure got was the hatchery. He killed the 3rd base because it was weakened from earlier, so this is going to be his target when he does move out across the map. And killing a 3rd is more than enough damage. Now, Dark hasn't quite spotted this. He did just lose his Overlord across the map, so he has very limited scouting information. He's going to have to send his lings out to try to scout this as it moves out across the map. But the Reapers are here to deny that scout as well. Dark, he's going to be cutting workers here at 42 or 41, which is a pretty good worker count to stop at. And he's assuming that his opponent is going for a 4-Rax. And he gets confirmation. Ling moves out. Doesn't see all the Marines, but does see a decent amount of them moving out as we speak. At the 4-minute 40 mark. And now Dark knows. Now Dark is just amassing pure Ling. He's not going for a Bailey Nest. There are different like responses, and if you want to be the aggressor, you can throw down a Bailey Nest. So then when you clean this up, you can go for a Bane Bust and try to punish the Terran player because there's no Widow Mines, there's no tanks. It's very little to defend at home. But Dark, he's going for a more macro-oriented kind of approach to this. Just pure Ling working on a 4th base. And he's going to be going for that surround, and it looks like he will shut down this Marine army. Well, the stutter stepping is pretty damn good from Cure. He's trading as efficiently as he can, but he will still lose this army. That was 38 Lings. 38 Lings for 18 Marines. But Dark holds onto his 3rd base. He's going to be able to drone from here, and Cure is, going to be stuck at home. Did trade fairly well, and did, again, stop Dark from droning, but at this time, Dark is free to drone as hard as possible, catch up, and overtake Cure in that economy. Meanwhile, Cure's going to be stuck at home until he gets his medevacs out. He's going for some add-on swaps. Reactor should be on that starport momentarily, and then as soon as the medevacs come out, Cure can be active with those drops. Until then, there's nothing stopping Dark from just droning, just chilling. Saturating his bases. He's working on 1-1. Ling Bane will be his composition of choice. His lair was heavily delayed. That's going to be the downside to this, is that obviously we didn't have a lot of gas mining in the defense. With a late lair, it also means a later Baneling speed. So Dark is going to have to defend with just pure Ling Queen and slow Banes. Meanwhile, Cure's pretty bold. He moves out before the medevacs are done. There's no like way out for these Marines, by the way. The medevacs are still on the way. He's being so aggressive. This is another Beyond move, to be honest. Dark, he wants to engage. He does bait out his stim. But the medevacs have arrived, and we're going to be bringing even a tank alongside this as well. Oh boy. Cure is here with the 2nd wave. And does Dark have enough to defend? Again, no Baneling speed. Only Lings and Queens. The tank is getting in a pretty good position. Cure looking to lay siege upon that 3rd. Dark immediately gives it up. Very quick to evacuate. Very quick to just send his workers across the map or to his other fresh 4th base. This tank position is so brutal. It's so nasty. As the Marines are going to be threatening that 3rd. Getting very low as a result. Dark is setting up a surround. He does have a couple of Banelings. Again, they are going to be slow Banes, bear that in mind. And the hatchery is barely going to hold on. Here we go. Dark, he pulls the trigger. He dives on top of this army. He's trying to get on top of that tank as well, but the choke point is brutal. The Banelings will not find any connections. Tank does get cleaned up at the same time. A double drop here on the right-hand side. Dark doesn't have anything in position. That's a lot of drones. That's a lot of drones. For the time being, Cure, he's focusing on the main base, and the lair is going to go. Oh god, is it going to go down? Up! It's going to be close. No, the lair is barely saved. Likewise, Cure was unable to get too much economic damage here either. Lings are in position up. As the Marines do wedge themselves behind those mineral patches. And without Banelings, it's so difficult to clean this up. Cure, he's getting out of control. This hatchery will fall. 4th base goes down. The 3rd on its last legs. The main also on its last legs. Oh, no one has any legs. Not like this. Cure is just pulling Dark apart. And just now, Baneling speed starts. Again, until such a time, these drops, they're almost going uncontested. Like, they're just getting so much value over time. They have so much micro potential. As another Queen goes down, Cure now looking to take his 3rd base. And he has a massive supply lead. Army supply lead, I should say. Oh, God. And now with these Liberators, Dark, he can't even mine from his bases. He doesn't have the Queen count for it. He's only got 4 Queens, 1 to inject each base. He has very limited anti-air. Dark's stuck on a 3-base economy. Meanwhile, the tanks are moving out, and this tempo-based play of Cure, it's going to be too much, I feel. The creep hasn't been respread. The army rocks up. Baneling speed isn't done. We're going to try and waddle on in anyway. We're getting on top of at least the tanks. Dark does have enough, but no, the target firing is too good. The Marines survive. The tanks do get reset. So overall, a good trade for Dark. A necessary trade, to be honest. Baneling speed now kicks in. Dark barely holds onto his base. Meanwhile, the Liberators, they're back. They're back, Papi. The Queens are being focused on one after the other, and this is snowballing out of control. Oh, as 4 more drones go down, the Queens fall as well. Here just dancing between the bases, taking down the last Queen. There are 0 Queens left on the map. We're making 4 at a time, to be fair, but 0 Queens. The only anti-air are these spores. And Cure isn't done. He's going to keep on pushing, keep on dropping. Can't stop, won't stop. And Dark he's been doing a really good job at surviving, I'll be honest. I assumed he would be broken sooner when it came to the tank push at his 3rd base. I thought it was over then and there. But Dark has been doing a really impressive job at just holding on, but he needs to do more than that. As Curia has his 3rd base up and running. Hatchery goes down. Another base falls as well. Dark is committed to his counterattack. Some of these tanks are unsieged. As he does get on top of the army, the splits are not there. The Banelings are rolling into the mineral line. This is the moment that Dark was looking for. Kira trying to save what ZvT can. But 13 workers go down, and I think that's going to be a cancel on the 4th base. So Dark is able to get an eye, or at least get a handle on the economy of Cure. But he himself is still hurting. This is getting really scrappy. Like Cure has been doing so well at just denying bases and crippling the economy, and I think that's another kill, by the way. Another hatchery goes down. Because of that, Dark just doesn't have the best economy here to keep rebuilding and remaxing. Cure still has a lead. How do we come back? Dark, he's going for Burrow. I mean, it can work. Burrow would be a good way to come back, a good way to find a really good Baneling connection, or even just use it to help protect your drones. As Cure isn't finding as much success here with these drops, not anymore. Darky's got a bit of a handle on the situation. At least back at home. He's setting up for another Ling Bane counterattack at the 3rd base. Cure in the midst of pushing out. He's going to be exposing that mineral line, and Darky's rushing on in. Cure is quick to pull away. Oh, a little bit of friendly fire from that tank as well. Gotta be careful. Cure, he doesn't lose too much though. Dark buying valuable time right now to rebuild his army, to max out on Ling Bane. He's on his way. He's getting there. And he's going to be able to find this mineral line. Ooh, a lot of these SCVs are going to be going down. Cure, he doesn't care. He's focusing on his main push. As Dark takes a worker lead, the tanks are caught unsieged. Oh, the tanks are going to be going down, and the army is left so vulnerable. Pure Marine. There's not enough to fill up those medevacs, or not enough to get into those medevacs. Well, not medevacs, I should say. As they do go down. A good moment for Dark, and he is swinging this back in his favor. He's stabilizing. His 4th base up and running. Finally. Dark is still in this. He's alive, Papi. He's alive. I was ready to pronounce the time of death, not gonna lie. It was things are looking really bad for Dark, but these run-bys, these counterattack has been doing so well for him. And throughout all this, he's been able to take up into Hive. We have Vipers on the way, +3 or 3/3 adrenal glands. Cure is running out of steam. as time goes on, this is getting better and better for Dark. Now, Kier still has a couple of drops active on the map, so we can try to pick apart at some of these fringe bases. Once again, really good target firing on those Banelings. There's only so much he can do. And that terrifying tank count isn't what it once was. We only have 3 tanks left on the map. We're getting to mine production as we speak. Oh, the Vipers have arrived. Oh, we're looking for the yoink. There it is. The full medevac goes down. The second one as well. Up. Oof. Completely shutting down such a massive chunk of the army of Cure. So we'll have another drop here on the right hand side, but a decent mine shot goes off. Now Dark can focus on that. His attention is no longer split. And at this point, Cure has to turtle. It's a sad reality of the situation. I know he wants to be active. I know he wants to go for all this drop play, but it's really hurting him more than helping him at this point. Just has to stay back at home, turtle on up, and try to take a 5th. Like, momentum has swung heavily in favor of Dark, and I don't know if Cure can ever take a 5th base. Dark about to max out. I'll go the Banelings! Did you go off on the mines? Not too bad, not too bad. Oh, we have Banelings burrowed here as well on the left-hand side. Burrowed Banes, Poppy. Let's go. And as a result, things are going to be settling down, essentially. Cure just fortifying himself with more Liberators, more tanks, CCs on the way to eventually expand here towards the south. Likewise, Dark is taking up into Hydras, soon to be Lurkers, I imagine, as well. Lingbane Hydra is all he really needs to work with, or Lingbane Hydra Viper. There's no need to rush into Lurkers or Broodlords yet. A decent mine shot does go off behind said army, but really Dark is just waiting for his opponent to overextend. Pushing into these liberation zones is going to be really difficult for Dark, let's be real. But once he does get a good bank up and running, he can just roll into bases. We may just see that. Specifically this one. Oh boy. As Cure is in the midst of taking this 5th base, and Dark, he can't let this happen, by the way. If he does allow this base to get up and running, then Cure would have essentially stabilized, and it would be a far closer game than it otherwise could have been. So I do worry a little bit here for Dark, as he is being pushed back, and yeah, I do think that this base is looking quite exposed as well. I do think that Dark can punish it, but he's not quite going for it yet. He doesn't know. Doesn't have vision. He doesn't know that Cure is getting his planetary up and running. And this is now a bit of a scary moment for Dark. Doesn't know about that base. Meanwhile, he's going for it. He does get surrounded. The army does force a pickup. But again, he doesn't know. So this is still up in the air. Even though Dark has had the map control, and even though he's had a lot of momentum for these past couple of minutes, Cure has stabilized. We have a couple of ghosts, not too many. We're a little bit lacking in that count. We're slowly building that up. We've got Blue Flame on the way, additional factories as well, to transition to a more mech-heavy composition. Thor Tank Ghost is kind of what we want. Or Tank Ghost, even. Yeah, we'll see how this does unfold. As Dark is finally going to be pulling the trigger here at that 3rd base. The Banelings, they roll on in, and they're going to be able to take down the entire mineral line. I do think we could have done this sooner, but we get it done anyway. 15 SCVs go down. Pretty big blow to the economy here of Cure. Meanwhile, Dark just mining from every other base. what's important is for Dark to try to mine some of Cure's bases as well. I would appreciate it if Dark saturated the fringe bases first. Just because if Cure did eventually take these bases, then they would just have less minerals, period, on them. For the time being, Dark is just going to keep hammering away at this third base, getting more free SCVs essentially. The Vipers, they come in from behind. We do have a surround on this position. Dark going to be able to clean up a lot of these tanks, but in come the Marines from behind. But oh god! Splits were a little bit late. Ghosts are going to be going down. Very expensive loss here for Cure, and it looks like Dark has done it. He caught Cure at a very weak moment, out of position completely, and the army of Cure has crumbled. I was really concerned that Cure was going to stabilize, but GG gets called in one fell swoop. Dark takes game number 1. Oh boy. He found like the angle, the perfect angle to attack from. It's caught so much of Cure out of position, and yeah, Dark takes it after a pretty intense comeback as well. Remember that Dark was in a lot of trouble in the early to mid game, or in the mid game even. He was just contained to 3 bases, losing queens, losing drones to all this drop play. Cure was just on another level until the run buys started happening, until Dark started going for his own Ling Bang counterattacks, and then Cure was forced to back off, gave Dark the breathing room that he needed, and he got back into it. GG. GG, very well played. And here we go. Now we're going to be getting into game number 2. Oh, but that was intense. I need to... Oh god, I need a drink after that, not gonna lie. But I haven't eaten today yet. I need to, I think I'm gonna order some food after this. Unfortunately, it's gonna be really late. It's 10 PM here in Australia, so it's gonna be really late by the time I do. It's not gonna be a lot open. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. As we are getting into game number 2 of the grand finals of ESL Open Cup number 182 Asia, we have the South Korean Terran in the top right hand corner representing Team Abydos. It is Cure. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner of Ancient Cistern, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Zerg player leading the series 1-0 after an intense game 1. Let me tell you, it's wild. Representing CranKy Z Gaming, it is Dark. Here we go. Once again, I'd forgotten it was 20 minutes ago. 20 minutes ago. 20 plus minutes ago. Cure going for another 2-Rax opener. It looks like Cure, he's adopted the faith, the religion of Byun. And so far in the majority of the ZvTs that we've casted today, Cure has gone for these 2-Rax openers. He likes it, Bobby. He likes it. Now, we saw that his initial 4-Rax didn't really do too much damage early on, but it did some inadvertent damage. I think the biggest thing was that Dark heavily delayed his lair. He heavily delayed his lair in game 1. Because of that, there was a big window where we didn't have Banelings, we didn't have Baneling speed, where Dark was having a hard time defending, and things very quickly snowballed out of control. So it's possible that Cure maybe believes that he can refine this a little bit more and find a little bit more damage if he goes for the 4-Rax follow-up. Or he could do something different. He can go into a 2-1-1. It is possible. We'll see. We shall see. As looking at our Zerg player, we do have a Hatch Gas pool opener here from Dark. Nothing too crazy, just very standard, very economic. As the Overlord gets across the map and Dark gets eyes on the 2-Raxes, does confirm the opening, the Byun opening here by Cure. He is aware. As the first Reaper makes it across the map, can be dancing with the army. We already have it, Cure transitioning. The add-ons are revealed, so Dark is now fully aware that it's not a 3-Rax opener. He knows that it is going to be transitioning, of course, into either 2-1-1 or 4 racks. Speaking of, the 3rd and the 4th racks are thrown down in the main. So Cure going for the exact same opener once again. And we'll see if Dark is able to refine his response a little bit more. As the Reapers are chipping away at this 3rd base, they're going to, again, try to force a cancel or at least do enough damage for the Marine follow-up to maybe even kill this base. Oh, as the Queens are under threat, the Lings are trying to zone away those Reapers. And Dark is going to be able to get this 3rd base up and running. Shouldn't lose too much. Yeah, just dancing. The ebb and flow of the Queens and the Reapers. Oh god. As one of those Queens does get quite low, but in the end the hatchery will finish. Dark is able to hold on to it. But again, this hatchery is quite low, and this is going to be the target here for the 4 racks. The Marines are going to be looking to push on forward and threaten, and maybe even get a kill onto this 3rd base. Meanwhile, Dark is going for a different response. Interesting. This time he's going for an early Roach Warren. Roach Warren is thrown down. Gases as well. This is a bit of a risky move. Now, if we get Roaches in high enough numbers, we can definitely defend against this, but we'll see when Dark decides to cut his worker production as he's taking all 3 of his gases. Marines already moving out across the map. And Dark isn't ready for this. Dark, he's got a handful of Lings and a couple of Queens. Uh-oh. I'm a little bit concerned. We do have 8 more Lings on the way, alongside some Roaches. Okay, it looks like Cure is going to back off. He's just going to be waiting for those reinforcements. As Cure is already transitioning as well, we already have that factory on the way. So this is already going to be a little bit less committed from Cure. It's like he doesn't want to necessarily force the issue. He does move on out. Meanwhile, Dark did cut workers at 40, and he's just been making nothing but Lings and Roaches. He's trying to catch some reinforcements, doesn't quite get any of them, but he is set up for a surround. Yeah, the Lings from behind, the Roaches from the front. Oh, we don't want to show our hand, though. As Cure pushes on forward, and Dark is going to be collapsing on this army. Once again, he's going to be looking to clean this up. The Roaches had been revealed. And no, actually, Dark doesn't quite go for this round. He does back off. Instead, he's going all in. Ravagers are on the way. Dark, he wants to try to catch these Marines, yes, but also he wants to break the natural base. The Lings, they do dive on in a little bit premature. The Lings all do go down, and this is a better fight for Cure. And the Ravagers were a little bit too slow, a little bit too late. But we did force a stim. And again, every stim is hurting the army of Cure. There are no medevacs. There's no way to regenerate this HP. As Dark is just bullying back the army with these vials, giving him the room he needs to lay siege upon that natural. Again, he wants to try to bait out a stim if possible. This is almost like zoning Novas. This is almost like purification Novas in PvT. Depot is gonna fall. Dark still hasn't droned. He's still very all in. Bear that in mind. It's pure Ling Ravager. But the medevac has arrived. This medevac has a lot of work to do, to be fair. That's Oh, and he goes for the scan. Very important scout here from Cure. He's not going to move out. He confirms the lack of drones, the lack of saturation, that Dark is still all in. Upon seeing that, he shouldn't move out. He should be looking to receive the army of Dark. Dark wants to fight on creep if possible. As Cure just stays back at home, tops up his army. More tanks on the way, more medevacs as well. Dark still hasn't droned. He's transferring workers, but that's only because he's he's pulling out of gas. Cure Lings to reinforce. That's all he wants. That's all he needs. The army gets spotted. Now Now, can Cure deal with this, especially out here in the open? His tank positioning has to be so good, and there we go. He does siege up. He's getting ready for the push. Oh, Biles are going to connect on the Marines. Already a good start for Dark. He's getting ready for a surround. He wants to come in from behind. Oh, the tank has to siege up, Poppy. Siege up. As Cure is leapfrogging across, and that he's going to be exposing his tanks. They're both going to be going down one after the other. A little bit of miscontrol from Cure. We do have the full surround. But the Marines, the focus fire is insane. He's focusing down every single one of those Ravagers. The Lings go down as well. The Marines stand strong. GG gets called, and Cure takes game number 2. GG. Who needs tanks? Who needs tanks, Poppy? Who needs them? There was one tank that survived. It was in the center of that bio army. And the stutter stepping from Cure, making sure he didn't get locked down, making sure he didn't get surrounded, so the Biles would not find the juicy connections they were looking for. Completely cleaned Dark up. But again, we should also praise the scouting of Cure as well. That scan was pretty important. If he didn't scan, he probably would have moved out on the map, and that would have been disastrous. Like, he needed to stay back at home. He needed to wait for the all-in to come to him. And just like that, we have a series. Just like that, we have a series. Where is Macca's when you need it? I'm definitely considering it. I have to think, are there any Terrans that aren't doing the Beyond build right now? Clem has been doing it. Cure as well. Maru's always been doing it alongside Beyond. Gumiho isn't, but Gumiho never plays meta anyway. Like Gumiho, he's his own kind of player. It's fine. He's an independent Terran, doesn't need no Beyond. Yeah, I think everyone does. I think if I branch out into the European scene, I don't think Spirit does, but again, Spirit is kind of like Gumiho in a way, where Spirit kind of walks his own path. So it is really cool to see that this build has caught on. Here we go, spawning in the top right-hand corner of Royal Blood. We have the South Korean Terran player fighting back in this series, putting a point on the board. Oh, God. Making his opponent work for it. It is Cure. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player representing CranKy Z Gaming. It is Dark. I was going to say, the difference between like Bjorn and all these other players though is that Bjorn literally does that 2-Rax opener every single game, every single TVZ. Meanwhile, when it comes to the other pro players, they mix it in. They sprinkle it in mid-series. They don't like overly rely on it. That's just like the biggest difference between Bjorn and, you know, Cure, Maru, Clem, which I'm okay with. It's very stylish. I really appreciate it from Bjorn. He sticks to his guns, you know. Good stuff. Good stuff. It makes him stand out a little bit more as an individual, which is always a good thing. Speaking of, Cure is going for a much more standard opener instead, going for a Rax expand. No second Rax whatsoever. He's crazy. He's crazy. But here on Royal Blood is going to be going for something a little bit more standard. No Beyond opener. No Beyond opener this time. Cool. As a result, we're going to be seeing a very different early game, and Dark is going to be able to spread his wings a little bit more. He's going to be more comfortable here coming into this game. He won't be forced to react to the initial Reapers, and we'll see how he does approach this. Important to bear in mind as well that Dark, he's very akin to roaches. Like, they are his spirit animal, his spirit unit for a reason. So a comfortable Dark may just commit into roaches later on for a bit of a 1-1 or 2-2 timing. We'll see. We'll see how Dark approaches this. As he scouts, he confirms the CC on the low ground that his opponent is playing standard. Feels good, man. Feels good. Reaper does move out across the map. Just going to be dancing with these initial lings. Shouldn't really be finding too much damage. Just going to be trading here as best he can. Just getting an eye on things and maybe getting a ling here or there. But so far, Dark has been quick to pull back and save his lings. Behind this, Cure is going for a third CC. So 3 CC before Starport, a very economic build here from Cure. Very macro-oriented. So he isn't going to be... again, it's a very stark contrast compared to what we've been seeing from Cure all day today. He's been hyper-aggressive against Ragnarok and against Dark so far this series, but now we're going to be calming things down. And he's going for a more macro opener. Feels good, man. Feels good. I appreciate it. Definitely do appreciate it. As I'm sure Dark does as well. It's like, finally, I can calm down. Hi. As we do have that Starport on the way, we should be seeing a bit of an add-on swap here for that cloak, or for those Banshees. I will see if he does invest or doesn't invest into cloak. So there we go. The first Banshee is on the way. Again, Dark is free to just saturate his spaces. Momentarily, it's going to be on Dark to try to keep up with the movement of Cure, as we're going to be quite active here with Hellions and Banshees trying to find an empty mineral line and try to find, oh, sorry, a full mineral line, just an exposed one. Let's see if we can get past all these queens. As we're just going to be testing the waters here with our first couple of Hellions. Queens are being brought forward, and it's going to be a bit of a challenge here for Cure just because Dark is known for his queen defense. It's kind of very unique in that way, as he is not shy to just bring all of his queens over to make sure he's able to keep up with all these rotations and minimize his losses. As the third base is being taken behind this, we have confirmation this is going to be Bio, no mech. I can't remember the last time I've seen Cure play mech, to be fair. Don't think he's really one to do so. Not too often, at least. But it's going to be Bio. Hellions are in the midst of moving out. And it looks like Cure is going to be waiting for his second Banshee here. Just waiting for Cloak to finish alongside his second Banshee before he does move out. Hellions just vying for map control. Again, it's very important that Cure doesn't lose anything too early. You don't want to throw any Hellions away early on. Stark is able to get his fourth base up and running, and it's not going to be Roaches. We do have those double Evo chambers for +1 melee and +1 carapace. Ling Bane is coming out here for Dark. You'd love to see it. Feels good, man. Feels good. And yeah, we've just been having a pretty stock standard opener. Stock standard TVZ so far. Nothing too fancy. Here come those Cloak Banshees. The Hellions do consolidate here back at home, but they don't quite move out yet. So we're not going for any kind of multi-pronged aggression, just Banshees poking in. Gonna find a good amount of gas mining drones as well. 5, 6 drones go down. Queens are a little bit late to react. And that's already a good amount of damage done here by Cure. Especially considering that he hasn't really lost too much HP at all in these Banshees. 2 tumors go down. And again, we're keeping these queens busy at the same time. Here come those Hellions. Both wings are in position. More queens do rotate over to defend. We have more than enough in position. 5 queens on the left, 4 on the right. And with that, Dark, he's able to get away with a pretty good worker count at this point. 72 drones is what he needs, and now he can focus on nothing but Ling Bane production. Lair is about to finish up. The Baneling Nest is late, though. I will point that out. This Baneling Nest should be done by now. Typically, you line it up with the Lair, so by the time the Lair finishes, you can start Baneling speed. So this is going to be a bit of a scary moment here. Dark, he's only going to have Lings and Queens to defend. Against one tank, he should have enough. Oh boy. As Cure is getting in position, he's going to be threatening this 4th base. Tanks are looking exposed, but I love this from Cure. He's keeping his Hellions with his tanks to protect them against a Ling counterattack. Links around. Here we go. The Marines, they get into the middle line. 11 workers go down. The Hellions will be falling, though. There was no armory with this. There weren't any Hellbats to support those tanks. But the Marines, they focus down queen after queen. Oof. But good target firing. This will still be cleaned up. Was that worth it? We lost a medevac, we lost a tank, a good amount of marines, 2 medevacs even, but we got a lot of worker damage. And as a result, Cure is actually ahead economically. He has a better economy. His Banshees are laying siege upon this 5th base and distracting these queens. And Cure, he wants to keep on pushing. Banelings now on the way. But the reinforcements, the Ling counterattack does catch a tank. It does catch marines as well. Oh god. Okay, I'm just hungry, Papi. I'm just hungry. And Cure is looking to try and snowball out of control, but alas, with the loss of those tanks. Did I say lose 1 tank, by the way? Lose 2 tanks as well. These Ling counterattacks have been doing so well here for Dark. So many marines go down. Aye, aye, aye. And despite that, though, Cure still has a pretty threatening army. It's crazy. Like, even though he's been being slowed down, he still has so many marines to work with. He's breaking on through, the hatchery getting lower and lower. Bailing speed about to kick in a couple of seconds. As Dark finally breaks free. But did he really? A hatchery is still going to be going down. Drop does threaten that main base. 5th does fall to the reinforcements. And yeah, this has been a pretty good couple of moments here from Cure. I'll be honest, if those 2 tanks weren't caught out, I do think that Cure may have been able to just break both hatcheries even. Oh boy, would have been disastrous here for Dark. He's still on the back foot, still has a supply deficit. Cure taking a 4th base behind this. Because of all this aggression, Darky just hasn't been able to really threaten these mineral lines. He caught some reinforcements earlier, which was really cool, but outside of that, he hasn't been too active. Aye, aye, aye. As Dark is still trying to consolidate his forces, he does now have a pretty large Ling Bane army. Oh my god, he's trying to catch out these marines, but no, they do get picked up, they do get saved. Dark is pretty committed with this. Like, he's cutting workers pretty early on. He's only got 69 drones. Nice. Everything else pure Ling Bane. As he rolls on in, he wants to try to connect here with these marines. And how good are the splits? They're okay, but not good enough. Oh my god, the Baileys, they find some juicy connections. And Dark, he finds a way. He breaks the natural, he breaks the 3rd. The Baileys, they find even more connections here in the mineral line as well. And Cure is going to be losing almost everything. Up until this point, Cure was in a damn good position, but he loses his army, he loses his economy. Oh, the Borrowed Bane. Bardlings, sorry, not Banelings. Cure does force Dark back, but he's waiting for this mineral line to be saturated once again. And Cure is kind of forced into a counterattack. Now the pendulum does swing. Now he's the one with the army advantage, but at the same time we have another Ling counterattack, forcing Cure to turn all the way back around. More Lings burrowing here into the natural, into the main as well, forcing scans, being such a nuisance. Cure is aware of at least some of these Lings, but there we go. Does catch all of them. Takes a lot of scans to clean them up, but for the most part, Cure has now stabilized. Can now focus on his assault. What do we have at home to defend? Ling Bane, Hydra. We're still down in army supply. This base is still softened up from earlier. God, and we're getting some pretty good mine connections. Yeah, the mine connections are good enough. The Marauder's going to be hoping to tank some of those Bailings as well, and they will. And we're just parade pushing across the map. Oh, can we get on top of the Hydras? It looks like we barely cannot. Dark holds once again. He's trying to. Cure doesn't want to let up. He doesn't want to stop. But again, he has to back off. Decent Widowmine shots. More Widowmines are trickling on in. Cure wants to try to get on top of these Hydras. On the friendly fire. Doesn't quite go off. Cure is slowly doing it. He's getting on top of the Hydras, and now finally he can clean this up. It was a little bit too much. Or was it? The Lings, they come in to reinforce. Jesus. Oh god, the fight just doesn't end, puppy. It doesn't end. Dark, he wants Cure to back the hell up, but no, he refuses. He just keeps rallying across the map. He wants to break Dark Kieran now. And every time Dark is barely holding. 26 more Lings in production. It looks like finally he does. Cure going for a scan, trying to figure out what the economic situation is looking like for Dark. Trying to figure out what's going on. Finally, Dark can breathe. Working on Adrenal, Hydra speed. As time goes on, Dark's army is getting better and better. Meanwhile, Cure is stuck on 2-2, hasn't started 3-3. He doesn't have the best economy behind this either. He needs another base. He picks up his main. He's taking it as a 5th. That's how desperate Cure is right now. Oh. No, who is it? Who is it? Is it me? Steadfast! Feels Canadian internet. Okay, we're back. It's okay. Hopefully that does settle down. Hopefully the Canadian internet stands strong. As we do see Cure setting up an assault here on the right-hand side as well. Trying to split up his army. Trying to split up the attention of Dark. Gonna be laying siege upon that Bailey nest. We have pretty good mine connections, but we are running out of Marines. Dark is able to barely hold on. Thanks to that Spore, is able to clean up those mines as well. Yeah, Dark, he's more than stabilizing, he's getting ahead. He is getting further and further ahead. Cure, no! Steadfast! Oh, we are. This is not a good time at all. Hopefully everything's okay, but I do think that if he starts to lag out again, we may have to ask him to step out for a little bit, or he may just lag out actually. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. Hope everything's okay. And if he does lag out of this game, there's gonna be another one because it's a best of 5. So hopefully Steadfast is able to recover his internet in time. Wait, is his name Dave? I didn't know that. Yeah, hopefully yeah, shout out to Steadfast, of course, staying up into the late hours of the night to cast this. So hopefully he's able to recover his internet and get everything sorted out in time for the next game. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. As Cure continues his assault. Again, still running out of steam. Still having a hard time just getting too much value here at all. There isn't too much creep threat, thankfully, so Cure can be active here on the right-hand side. Stark once again looks to engage. He splits off a couple of these Lings as well. He does get eyes on the 5th base of Cure. But once again, just burrowing everywhere. He's being so annoying. The burrow is real. But Cure has had enough. He wants to push on forward. Banelings, they roll on in. They get some decent connections. They force back the army. At the same time, it looks like Cure is finally going to get a kill on this 3rd base. It's been so low since the start of the game, but it's going to cost him that southern army. Does get cleaned up. And 3-3 will be finishing up here in time for the next push. I'm waiting for the moment for Dark to throw down a lurker den. If he's able to get any amount of lurkers up and running, I do think that just spells an end to these pushes. I don't think there's a good answer to them. There's no ghost on the horizon at all. As I say that, lurker den is now on the way. Ling Bane rolling on forward once again, and we may not even live long enough to get out those lurkers. Or Cure may not live long enough to actually see those lurkers come into play. Lings, they head into the middle line. The Hydras are getting into the army as well. Cure trying to hold on as best he can, but he's running out of steam. GG gets called, and Dark is able to fight or win a hard-fought victory here and take game number 3. GG. GG, well played. Dark is now 1 game away from advancing on, from becoming this week's ESL Open Cup champion. Cure needs to bring it back here and now. Needs to win the next game to force the ace match, then win the one after that to take the series. GG, well played. And it looks like we're going to take a moment here. We're going to take a moment to see if maybe Steadfast can resolve his issues. It sounds like it isn't an internet issue. It sounds like Steadfast, his internet is stable, his stream is stable. It's just his connection to Battle.net, which does occur at times. How's it going to be holding on? But yeah, that does occur sometimes. I don't know what it is, but sometimes the North American or the European connection to the Battle.net servers on Korea are sometimes unstable. We have seen people like Enki, Wardy, the French casters as well, TKL, I think. We have seen them struggle sometimes in these KSLs or ESL Open Cup Asias. It has nothing to do with their internet. It's just Battle.net. Sometimes the connection is just a little bit shaky. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. Thankfully, because of where I live, because I live in Australia, like I never have that issue, thankfully. Yeah, it typically has to do with like other continents connecting to the Asia server. Feels indie company, man. Feels indie company. Can't fix it. Catching up in the chat. I love Cure's aggression, always on Dark's face. It's really fun to watch. It is really fun. Very high octane. But yeah, I see some people talking about it, and yeah, it is just the connection to BNet. I don't know what it is, but in the past month, like the connection to the Korean server for some people has been shaky. As here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Gresfarm, we have the South Korean Terran player representing Team Abydos looking to fight back in this game. He needs to here and now to force the ace match. It is Cure. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Zerg player, 1 game away from claiming the victory here, from taking the entire tournament and becoming this week's champion. Representing Dragon Z Gaming, it is Dark. Go. As Cure, hey, why not, is going back to basics, going back to the Beyond build, if you will, with that 2 racks opener. Now, what's important is that Cure hasn't had too much variation with this. At the beginning of the broadcast, I was talking about how the Beyond opener, what's scary about it is that you can go into an all-in, into like a 3 racks mass Reaper, all in here off of 2 bases. You can go into a 2-on-1, or you can go for the 4-axe. But Cure hasn't really shown that kind of depth. He's kind of shown only 4 axes off of this, so he's become a little bit predictable as a result. So I wonder if that's going to be the same here. If that's going to be the case, if once again we're going to be seeing 2 more axes in the main base, or if he does mix things up. Because I feel like Dark has gotten the handle of this. I feel like Dark is pretty comfortable against the 4-axe, period. We saw him struggle a little bit on Ancient Cistern when he tried to go for the Ling Ravager all-in, definitely. But I don't see him doing that again for a second time if he goes up against that same build. I'm catching up in the chat. Yeah, we don't have BattleNet issues here. We do have ISP issues. True. It's different. But mine is I don't typically have ISP issues. I think it's just my place is really old. Like the place that I'm staying at is, you know, it's been around for quite a long time, before I was born even. And I'm pretty sure the wiring is really old as well, and that's why like the connection can be shaky at times. So it's a me problem, I guess. How much does it cost to rewire a house? Like, too much, Poppy, too much. As the Reapers have arrived, a 3rd and 4th ranks are thrown down behind this, so this is going to be the 4-axe follow-up. Here's what we expect. As this is getting a little bit out of hand already, and the first queen is going to be going down. Already a good pickoff here from Cure, and without that queen, this 3rd base is under threat. This is getting a little bit out of hand. There we go. Lings are coming out to help reinforce because they need to be. The damage is stacking up. Oh. Like this, maybe not like this. Well, not like this. It looks like the hatchery is going to be able to survive overall, but again, 1 queen kill is already a great amount of damage. Meanwhile, the boys have to be pulled. We're trying to trap these Reapers, and it looks like we barely will not. Cure is able to slip through the fingers of Dark, and that even caused a little bit of lost mining time as well. A good start already here from Cure, and we'll see how Dark handles the follow-up. Dark hasn't been able to dive into the main base, so he's not fully aware of what's going on, but I'm sure he can guess and assume the 4-axe. Oh boy. As Dark is going to be joining up a little bit further. We mentioned it earlier. Ideally, you want to be cutting workers at around between 40 and 45. Joining up to 50 is definitely a greedy move, and I don't expect Dark to be heading in that direction. And there we go. 40 drones is all we have to work with. From here, we're going to be relying on queens and lings to defend. As Cure is moving out initially with his first push, he does this quite often. This is just to clear out overlords to threaten his opponents. Doesn't commit. He's still going to be waiting for Stim and the rest of his army. Just going to be consolidating his forces, bringing everything together. And with this Link Scout, Dark confirms the 4-axe. He may not have seen the production in the main base, but upon seeing all these Marines, he's now fully aware of what's going on. Dark sends his Lings across the map. He's going to catch a couple of Marines, which is nice, but oh god, no. He's going to dive on top of the army itself, and I don't think this is the best move. Dark is going to lose everything. Massive mishandling of the situation there. That was 34 Lings down the drain. I mean, he does pick off a couple of Marines, sure, but that was not an efficient trade. Here we go once again. Oh my god, Dark is crazy. So typically you want to surround this on creep. You know, when you have a speed advantage with when it comes to outpositioning your opponents, fighting this head to head is wild. But okay, all right, Dark, you got my attention. Let's go. We got a Roach Warren behind this as well. Roaches are on the way. We have taken additional gases. 2 gases at the natural have been taken. Boy, and Dark is even supply blocked. This is not ideal here, but it looks like Cure doesn't have enough to break on through. It looks like Dark was able to buy enough time for Roaches to come into play, and yeah, Cure doesn't want to throw away his army. Dark instead going for another counterattack is going to come across the reinforcements. Pretty good pick up here from Dark. We'll see how Dark is able to deal with this, as Kure still wants to push out. This entire time he just wants to be active on the map. Keeps running into all these lings. I'm afraid to look. 68 lings have already... 69, nice. 69 lings have died this game. And counting. I'm just really worried that Dark has been bleeding out too much. I mean, he does have Roach Ravager here at home to defend. Not too much though, he's only got 7 roaches. And the majority of the lings are across the map. I do think that Kure can dive on this army. The queens are being brought forward. More roaches are coming out. Tank getting in position. We have the Ravagers to help deal with that. And here we go. The lings, they're going to be able to get on top of said tank. With the death of that tank, I do think that does stop the majority of this push. Yeah, Kure is going to be forced back. Dark handled this quite well. Like, all things considered, I do think that he did bleed out a little units, sure, but I'm sure there was a method behind the madness. He's going to be able to squeeze out a couple of workers. Unfortunately, he doesn't really have too much creep spread here. Doesn't have too much of a presence out on the map. And we'll see if he can keep up with the multi-pronged aggression of Kure. We have a double job moving out towards the right-hand side. Dark trying to split up his roaches. And Dark shouldn't be losing too much of his economy here. Behind this Kure, he's just taking his 3rd base, working on his upgrades. Dark has held. Oh, as Kure tries to trade with these roaches, does pick up a couple of them. 11 roaches have already gone down this game. But again, he doesn't want to lose too much. Dark trying to catch Kure not looking. You love to see it. As he continues his aggression, he's going to be reinforcing his drop here on the right-hand side. Dark has to be careful not to be caught off creep. Unfortunately, Dark has also not had the time to respread creep either. He's still only got 5 queens. Doesn't have any, or he's only got 1 active tumor right now. As Kure just continues to abuse his mobility, dives into the main base, more roaches get picked off. But Dark isn't going to take this line down. He's got Burrow on the way, alongside Tunneling Claws as well. He's going to be committing here to the Roach Ravager. Not the most efficient army, but it can definitely snowball out of control once you get a good enough economy going. We'll see if he can get this underway. Oh, as Kure is snowballing a little bit, he takes down every single roach. He takes down the Ravagers as well. He's going to snipe the hatchery. Oh my god. A massive pick-off here from Kure. Hatchery, the Ravagers, 3 workers, and even the Queen. Now, Dark still has a massive army, but again, the soup sometimes does lie here when it comes to Roach Ravager-based armies. Dark supply is inflated. And it doesn't scale too well as the game goes on. And Kure is so ready for a push. He's got his tanks in position. We have a turret on the way as well, ready for those Tunneling Claw roaches. Kure, actually, he wants to bring the tanks to Dark. I was thinking about it. I mean, Kure's kind of forcing the all-in. You know, Dark, he's maxed out with 62 workers on 3 bases. We have 2-2 on the way. Is Dark really going to wait for 2-2 before he moves out? Maybe. As Kure is actually going to come to Dark. Which I'm concerned by. Like, Dark wants to fight right now. He has a super maxed army. He has very few workers. He wants to engage, and Yeah, Cure is pushing on through. Here we go. Dark coming in for a bit of a flank as well. Tanks are in a pretty damn good position. Biles are going to be connecting though. As they take down the majority of the tanks, he just swallows up the army of Cure. Again, I feel like that is exactly what Dark wanted. He wanted to fight. And Cure gave it to him. He throws away his tank lead. But he still has a more mobile army. He's able to pick up 4 of those overlords. 5, 6 overlords. Oh my god. Containing Dark to 4 bases. Oh! Dark has to back off Remax, and he's waiting here for his upgrades to kick in. He's waiting for 2-2 before he does commit. As he waits for that though, again, he's still having a really hard time keeping up with all these Marines. Cure just picking up worker after worker. Now is Cure gonna, once again, he's moving out. I don't know if I like this. As Dark loses more drones, he's not replacing them. He's making more roaches. Like, Dark is very all in right now. And Cure is out on the map. Here we go. We may even force a base trade as Dark does show his hand. The tanks and liberators are not at home. And Dark can just push into the natural. Likewise, so is Cure. We are going for the base trade. And GG gets called. Dark knows a base trade is something that they cannot win. Not with the reinforcements, and Cure forces the ace match. Whew, GG. We're going all the way to game number 5. And thankfully, it looks like restarting the game client from Steadfast has maybe fixed the issues. Let's go. Let's go. Vámonos. Vámonos. Here we go. Game number 5. The final game here of the tournament, of the night, of the finals. It all comes down to one map. Near Humanity. Oh boy. Let's go, Papi. Let's go. One final map to end it all. And the question becomes, is Cure going to go for a 2-Rax again? Probably. Let's find out. And here we go. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Near Humanity, we have the South Korean Terran player representing Team Abydos. Oh, tying up the series 2-2 here in the grand finals, forcing the ace match. It is Cure. He's going for the Beyond opener. Let's go. As spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg representing CranKy Gaming. He's been one game away from winning this entire thing for quite some time, and he can't close it out. He has to do it here and now as well. It is Dark. Oh, one final game. Now, what is terrifying? Oh, never mind. Okay, so what I was about to say is what is terrifying about the Beyond opener on Near Humanity is that it does hit harder just because of the shorter rush distance. By ground, this will hit a little bit faster in favor of Cure, but Dark knows that, and he goes for a pool first opener. Let's go, Puck. Let's go. We have the pool first. I'm curious as well how well Cure is at defending against all-ins with this 2-Rax. I know Beyond is an expert. Beyond, like, you don't want to go for like a pull into a Roach Warren against Beyond. Like, he does so well defending against it. He just completely shuts it down to a point where Dark, initially when Beyond first started doing the 2-Rax opener, Dark would try to all in him and it just wouldn't work, and eventually Dark stopped. He learned his lesson. He did learn to back off. But here we go. Sixlings are on the way. No gases. Bear that in mind. It is a gasless opener here from Dark. And he will be getting eyes on the wall. on the Beyond opener. And I do think that this is a good thing for Cure. So I assumed that it was going to be a pull first into a fast gas geyser into roaches. But because it's a regular pull first, I don't know how much damage these things can really get done. Like, ideally they delay the CC on the low ground, but they can't. They can't do much of anything. Dark going for a third base here. The linear third even. This is not looking good for Dark. This is not looking good, Fafi. This is not looking good. Reapers do go for a bit of a scout. They confirm the pull first, and Cure is safe and sound back at home. Bunker is on the way. Dark has no idea. This bunker is going to finish, and Dark won't be able to save this third. His queens can't rotate over. His lings are across the map. He can't touch this at all. Instead, his lings are going for a bit of a counterattack, and they're going to be chipping away at this depot. And they may even be able to break on through. There we go, an SCV. A couple of SCVs are pulled to repair, to even throw down another wall. And we cause the Reaper to turn around, but overall, yeah, we force a cancel. Dark contained to 2 bases. Off of a gasless opener as well. This is really tough. It's a really rough start here for Dark. He gambled a little bit, and he was hoping for a Rax expands. Gambled incorrectly, or he unfortunately just it's what happens when you gamble sometimes, you know. Put it all on black, landed on red. And this is going to be brutal. So the reason why this is going to be so difficult for Dark is, one, Ling speed is heavily delayed. Roaches are also going to be delayed. We're diving straight into roaches, which makes sense. We have very limited larva to work with because we're stuck on 2 bases. So this 4-axe from Cure is going to hit like a truck. It's going to hit so damn hard. I do worry here for Dark if he's going to be able to even hold on to his natural, let alone the third. I think the third, there's no way. We'll see. As the third is thrown down, see if Dark can hold on to it. Reaper dives into the main, confirms the lack of Ling speed, the lack of the research as well. Cure didn't see the Roach Warren, but all things lead to a Roach Warren. And there we go. He starts Marauder production. He knows. He knows roaches are going to be out, so Marauders are going to be the answer to that. Let's see. I'm going to be very impressed if Dark can defend here against this, especially with the Marauders on the way. I think maybe if the roaches were a surprise, then maybe he can kind of lure Cure in and then take a more efficient fight. Dark is headed towards that lair as we speak. And here we go. Stim is done. Combat shields as well. Cure is moving out across the map. And we do have 13 roaches to defend. About to be 21. 21 roaches, I think that's going to be enough. Yeah, I think we're going to be okay. Should be okay. As the army is going to dance here with the forces of Dark. We go for a stim. We dive into a concave. We're going to have to respect this. We're going to have to back off. Dark with a massive amount of roaches. He has to be careful not to overextend, not to bleed out too much. As we do trade out 4 roaches for 7 marines. A better trade for Cure, but Dark, he survives. He's going to be able to knock down these towers. He holds. Ooh, let's go. Does survive the early game, and now he's going to be slowly saturating this third base, taking these Evo chambers, working towards 1-1. Now, what's important, though, is that Cure also didn't lose too much. He saw the Roach army, he respects it, he backs off, he loses Marines, and he's getting ready to fight another day. Another day with Medivacs. And we saw how well Cure can do with the drop play, with all this multi-prong aggression. See if Dark can hold on. Yeah, Medivacs are on the way as we speak. Cure throws down his third base on location as well. And yeah, things are going to be settling down. Things are going to be settling down here for both of our players. Dark, he's given some time to breathe, so he can get his fourth up and running. Slowly spreading all that creep. Catching up. He's been stuck on a low economy for quite some time, so he's going to have to join up as best he can. And we're going to be okay. This is the calm before the storm, more than anything. Because we know how damn aggressive Cure can be. We know how terrifying he can be, or he is even. As the first tank is on the way, the Marauders were preserved. And here we go. Here comes the second push. Second wave from Cure. Let's go for a scan ahead of time. Tank, it does siege. Well ahead of time as well. And we can see Cure just trying to chase back this army. Has to be very careful though with his stims. Doesn't want to waste them, as he only has 2 medevacs. And pushing in towards this fourth base is going to be really difficult though, just because of the choke point. We talk about this all the time in a lot of the other matchups, but it can be really difficult to threaten the 4 bases of whoever is the defender, just because of these narrow entryways. It's so difficult to push through and avoid all those biles. So Cure once again backs off. Dark looking to max out. You have Burrow on the way alongside Pathogen Glands for those infestors. And yeah, Dark, he's kind of situating himself in a really good position. Once again, looking to max out. And finally, we have our draw play. We have some medevacs being active on the right-hand side, just clearing up all the creep here. Every single tumor is going to be going down. Even a couple of overlords. But he has to be careful not to overextend. Infestors are now on the way, and that's the big thing that Dark has been missing, is splash damage with those infestors. With fungals, even if you're behind an army supply, Dark can take a better fight, and he's ahead. He's taking the center base. Fungals aren't ready yet, so we do have a triple drop diving all the way into the main. Dark does see it coming ahead of time though, so this drop isn't going to find too much damage. A bit of an ambitious move from Cure. And he's just trying to force the army to split up in between all these bases. Cure dives in, gets eyes on the would-be 5th. Can't quite do much about it. Back at home, we're just building up that tank count, working on mines. And likewise, Dark isn't going to be staying on Roach, Ravager, Infestor. He is taking up into those lurkers. We got a late game on our hands. We got a long game on our hands. Everyone's getting their 4th bases up and running. Map essentially being cut in half, or soon to be cut in half. And yeah, we're just gonna be chilling, and I appreciate that. You know, it's more of a more of a calm ace match here, at least initially, before things really do pop off. Oh god, the bird infestors though. They're looking for those fungals. They see everything. If Cure commits to a push, we're gonna see a fungal from behind. It's not gonna be pretty. As he commits to the drop, ooh, a full medevac goes down. He dives into the main base, is able to unload. At the same time, here comes that push, but the infestor is ready, or it should be ready. And there it is. The fungal does connect with the entire army of Cure. We even have a second fungal behind this, and even a third. Cure completely gets shut down. The drop in the main gets cleaned up. The push on the right-hand side, there was plenty here to defend as well. Dark is just a brick wall. Step aside, Showtime. And yeah, Cure, he just can't break the defenses of Dark. He has to back off, remax, rebuild, and now he plummets in supply. Now, to be fair, the advantages that Dark had also apply to Cure. I mean, likewise, we have great SimCity setup, turrets, tanks. Cure is turtling up very well here on these 4 bases, and trying to break this 4-base Terran player is going to be very difficult for Dark. But that's why he's teching. That's why he's, you know, working towards Hydras, Lurkers, rebuilding his spawning pool, which apparently got sniped. Vipers are now out as well. And that's the X factor here, is that Vipers are the unit you need to like break a turtling Terran with blinding clouds or abducts. Dark has the tools he needs. Oof. Has the tools, he has the supply. He doesn't have the most efficient supply, let's be real. He still has maybe too much tied up in Roach Ravager, and I'm sure he's going to be looking to refine his army and go for a couple of Roach counterattacks. And he'll be replacing that with more Lings, more Hydras, more Lurkers. Yo, these players, they really don't want me to eat. As a nice snipe on that Infestor does go down. Very high value pick off there from Cure. He's slowly getting his 5th base up and running as well. More CCs on the way. With all these orbitals as well, it does mean that Cure can stay on a lower worker count. I know that he has 95 SCVs as we speak, and Cure is maxed. But as he loses workers, he shouldn't be replacing them. He should be more reliant on mules moving forward. Very TY-esque. Another force does get caught out here on the right hand side. You're just trying to be as active as possible. He gets a couple of queens, gets some tumors as well, just keeps Dark back. But again, with all these lurkers and vipers, Dark is pretty heavily fortified himself. And here we go. We were talking about throwing away the Roach Ravager, and there it is. The Roach Ravager army has been pulled apart, or has been segmented off to go for a big counterattack. Nidus into the main is spotted. It is Dark's turn to trade. Nidus doesn't quite finish. A good chunk of Roach Ravager goes down to the tank shots. Again, we don't want to throw away too much too quickly. So we dip in once again. It's just a game of chicken at this point, where, as I've been talking about Dark refining his army, likewise so has Cure. He doesn't have as much Marine Marauder as before. Much more reliant on tanks, Thors, and Ghosts, which is kind of the late game army you want. It's so efficient. Tank, Thor, Ghost. Liberators. It's basically just mech with ghosts. That's where we're headed. We got the vehicle upgrades on the way. We have a blue flame as well. Oh, this is a bold move. The ghost army does move out. So vulnerable to a fungal, not gonna lie. Investors are moving on forward. Fungal just gonna graze the army, just picking off one of those ghosts. Not even. Ghost still survive. As Cure takes another base. And yeah, this is gonna go on for a while. I don't really expect a big engagement anytime soon. Cure, he's gonna be active with his ghosts, I'm sure, with his like more flexible bio army. And likewise, Dark, he wants to eventually trade out all these roaches and ravagers. Oof. As the lurkers were ready for those ghosts, and oh my god, that was 8 ghosts going down, and just like that, Cure's gonna be staying at home a little bit longer. As those 8 ghosts did fall, Cure's gonna be backing off, rebuilding, remaxing. Nidus does finish, and we actually do unload some of these lurkers. Liberators doing what they can on the left-hand side. They're gonna be cleaned up by these miles. As we do get into Tank, Thor, Ghost, I do think that Broodlord Infestor is kind of the composition you want to go for. I think Hydra Lurker Viper has its place, but it's heavily reliant on out-positioning your opponent, which can be difficult to do. As I say that, Dark does out-position Cure. Oh, Oh, this base is going to be going down. Nidus gets thrown down as well, just so we can evacuate the Fungals. Fungals are power bombs. A very efficient trade here for Dark. Oh my god. You're losing so much. There it is in one fight. You can see just how well or how little Dark did lose. Planetary goes down. Dark definitely making some moves happen here. He lost 6 lurkers to those snipes, but he was able to get tanks, Thors, ghosts. A little bit of everything. And Darky just continues to trade. I mean, he has a good bank, so may as well. He's got 3k minerals, 4k gas. No reason not to just try to pick apart your opponent. We can afford to replace what we're losing. As Niduses continue to be thrown down, Dark committing here to the Ling Bane, also to the Ling Hydra Lurker Viper. Still gotta respect the ghosts. The ghosts are good against everything. And now that the ghosts have arrived, Dark has to respect that he has to back off. He's gonna be rotating around. Oh! Oof. The job barely does escape. And I don't expect Cure to move out until Dark takes a bad trade. Like we can see here, he's throwing away a couple of these lurkers. 3 lurkers do go down. But Dark, he's finding another one of these bases. Cure, he's being pulled apart. Fungals once again connect with the ghosts. Even going for some abducts is what else can we do? And yeah, Cure, these fringe bases, they go down one after another. And Cure's being starved out. He's going to be running out of money. Like, he's got the center base, but that's it. That's all he has. As we get another Nidus into the main. Ghosts are trying to keep up. But things have snowballed out of control. Oh, he's not looking! Oh my god. Once again, a massive chunk of ghosts go down. The Nidus does finish. We don't really commit to the Nidus play, but we don't need to. Like Dark, he's just picking apart his opponents left and right. You have lurkers in the main, lurkers at the natural, on the front lines. Oh my god. And it feels like Cure's almost panicking a little bit, not gonna lie. He's been having a hard time splitting off his army and dealing with this. As we're almost setting up a full surround at this point. The lurkers, they edge on forward. The infestors are getting ready to fungal. And there it is. As the ghosts move forward, they do get fungled. Ling run by here at the natural. Another Nidus into the main. Doesn't quite finish. As Darky just continues to find value, the lurker is just getting so much done. Liberator finally arrives. Oh, the neural. Oh my god. Now, to be fair, as amazing as this has been, and as much damage as Dark has been doing, what's our economy looking like right now? Because, yeah, he hasn't been mining efficiently at all. Dark has no minerals. He's got plenty of bases, but he just hasn't been mining from them. He just hasn't had the economy. He's been stuck on a very low drone count. And here we go, Dark. Sorry, Cure, he's done. He's pushing on out. He's trying to. So lurkers leapfrog forward. Very ambitious here from Dark, but he's able to get so much damage once again. As he catches Cure out of position, he's pushing into lurkers. Oh my god! Not like this. He's barely pushing through all these lurkers. He's sniping one after the other, but he loses so much in the process. But it's okay because Dark doesn't have any workers. Again, he's got so many minerals available to him, but he just hasn't been mining at all. But there it is. GG gets called anyway. Cure, he's run out of steam. And Dark takes the series 3-2, becoming this week's ESL Open Cup champion. GG, well played. Oh god. It was just far too much. The supplies were pretty close towards the end there, and you could argue that maybe Cure could have like stuck it out, but oh god. Of course he didn't know how non-existent the bank was of Dark. GG, well played, and all Dark needed to do was really just drone up a little bit and he would have been able to remax and keep on going. Congratulations, Dark. Does it. He's going to be this week's ESL Open Cup Asia champion once again. But Cure had a really good run, especially considering the fact that Cure has been MIA for over a month. I mentioned it earlier, but I do know more people have come in over time. Cure has been injured. I don't know if it was his arm or his wrist or his hand, but he was injured. He did injure himself maybe like 5 weeks ago at this point. And as a result, he hasn't been playing in WTL. He hasn't been playing in ESL Open Cups or Kung Fu Cups or Korean StarCraft League. Like, Cure has been very inactive, just recovering from his injuries. And I mean, a shout out to Cure. He flew to Sweden. He was actually at DreamHack Jönköping. I was so shocked. I was like, oh my god, he's there. What? That's crazy. And he was playing with a sling on his arm. Like, he was playing while injured as well, and he did well for himself at DreamHack. Not gonna lie, he did surprisingly well considering the fact that he was not playing at 100% at all. So really cool stuff. And I was asking Maddox earlier, and he gave us confirmation that Cure is feeling a lot better. He's still in the middle of recovering. He's still not at 100%, but despite that, we can see that he can play so damn well and so damn fast. Made it all the way to the ace match. Didn't win, of course, but came damn close. And I'm pretty sure a big reason as to why Cure is playing right now is because of GSL. I wouldn't be surprised if like the doctor's like, mate, you probably want to take things a little bit easy, but I'm sure Cure he doesn't want to be rusty. He doesn't want to be rusty once GSL comes around. And I'm sure by the time he does have to play in GSL, I'm sure he'd be feeling a lot better. Just wants to make sure he is in form. I don't blame him. So yeah, massive shout out to Cure for making this finale as close as it was, and congratulations to Dark for becoming this week's champion. Oh boy. And yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed themselves. If you enjoyed the tournaments and if you are interested in watching more, this is a weekly tournament every single day, or every single week, every single Monday. We are here with ESL Open Cup Asia, so mark your calendars for next week. If you want some more CranKy Duckling action, our next broadcast is going to be tomorrow. It's going to be tomorrow morning. We don't cast ESL Open Cup EU, which I think is in a couple of hours. Let me just double check. Yes, it is in 3 hours. 3 hours from now, ESL Open Cup Europe is going to be upon us. So be sure to check that out. We won't be casting that. I'm going to be going to bed, and I'm going to be waking up in time for ESL Open Cup Americas instead. So we'll see you guys in how many hours is that? Oh, 9 hours and 40 minutes. So in 9 hours and 40 minutes, we're going to be live on just over that, actually. We're going to be live once again on this channel with some more StarCraft. So if you're interested, if you want to tune into some more Korean StarCraft action, that we got you covered with ESL Open Cup Americas. I know that sounds weird, but it's not at a bad time for the Koreans, so they wake up as well. And a lot of them do play in ESL Open Cup America. And we even get some Europeans, specifically Max, Pax, and Clem. They're the 2 Europeans that are regulars in the Americas Open Cup. So yeah, you get to see these 2 regions collide, these 2 regions clash. And it's always a lot of fun. Always a lot of good fun. So I highly recommend checking that out when you can. Outside of that, you can follow me. You can follow me as well. Light_VIP. I stream whenever I can throughout the week. I haven't streamed in like a week actually, just because we've been busy casting and we've been busy watching Home Story Cup as well. Has been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of it's been a pretty great experience. You know, staying up, tuning into Home Story Cup, and seeing everyone interact and everyone have some fun. It was a great weekend. I recommend checking out the VODs if you can. The VODs of Home Story Cup. Definitely worth your while. But if you're interested, light_VIP on Twitch and Twitter, of course, whenever I can. The one-armed bandit, true. I see the chat catching up. Yeah. I think he also assumed Dark had a better economy. Yeah. Do agree. Yeah, so we're gonna be live again tomorrow. We also have we have 2 broadcasts tomorrow. I believe we're also gonna be going into GSL. Yes, day 2 of the GSL qualifiers is gonna be tomorrow as well, and we'll try to speed through that in time for GSL proper to begin. As again, we will have a replay cast of GSL tomorrow afternoon if you're interested. Again, we are live every single day of the week, sometimes multiple times a day here on the CranKy Ducklings, so we got you covered with plenty of StarCraft. So yeah, if you're interested, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Discord. We're all over the place. We even have a Patreon. You can see just under Kier's name down there. We have a Patreon goal to fund our events. We do host bi-weekly tournaments here on this channel, but we have been putting it on hold just because of Home Story Cup and ESL Masters and DreamHack. Like, we try not to collide with those big events. But yeah, starting next week, we should be having our events coming back. And yeah, if you want to support us, if you want to support smaller regions like North America or Latin America or Oceania and Southeast Asia, Patreon is the place to do it, to help us grow. So thank you. Thank you for all our current patrons. Thank you for all the support that we get. We appreciate it. Oh, gracias. Meanwhile, it's almost midnight, and I need to go get some food. I'm starving. So thanks for all the love. Thanks for all the support. So we're going to be giving another StarCraft streamer a raid. Who? I don't know. We'll figure out who is live, and we'll send everyone over to them. So give them a chance. Give them some love. Give them some support. Until then, thanks for watching, everyone. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.